I'm going to show you the formal British way to eat stew. Stew is in essence a combination of solid food types that have been cooked in liquid and then served in the gravy. A stew can include any type of vegetables and may of course include meat. Tougher meats are incredibly suitable for slow cooking as it allows the meat to soften. You can of course use beef, pork, lamb, sausages, seafood, etc. Water can be used to cook the ingredients within, otherwise stock is commonly used. A small amount of red wine can be added for extra flavour. Seasonings and flavourings may also be added. A stew would be typically slow cooked at a lower temperature, allowing the ingredients to simmer rather than to boil. This allows the flavours to mingle and absorb into the gravy in which it's being cooked. I love a stew. It's perfect for a cold winter evening as it makes you feel warm, tastes absolutely delicious and just cheers me up. It's a classic comfort food and stew can be found around the world with many different cultures and customs enjoying it. Stew can be similar to soup, however one should not confuse the two. One would eat soup with a spoon, not a dessert spoon, a soup spoon. However, if you're eating at a formal dining setting and the table has been set with a spoon for service, meaning that as the stew is placed in front of you, this would give you the indication that it is acceptable to use the spoon. However, in most instances, a stew would be served with potatoes and carbohydrates to allow to soak up the juices. And in this case, a spoon wouldn't be used. Stews would typically have a thicker substance and not be too runny like a soup, in which case it can be served in a bowl or even in a plate. To eat, I would use a knife and fork. The fork in the left hand and the knife in the right, with the fork tines facing downwards. I simply place the fork into the stew, spear the meat or vegetables as you wish, gather the liquid onto the top of the item you've speared, and then one neat, delicate mouthful, place it within your mouth to eat. If you were to be served bread on the side, you would find the bread to the left side of you. Now, remember, in a formal setting, one would never ever dunk the bread into the stew. In this case, I recommend you pick up the bread and tear small chunks, placing it into your stew. This will then allow the bread to soak up the juices of the stew and allow you to eat it in a respectful and formal way. I gather the bread onto the fork, soak up the juices, and then enjoy this yummy mouthful of bread and stew. You can serve stew with mash, roast potatoes, or even dumplings. And like I said, it's one of my favourite meals to enjoy in the winter months. What's your favourite type of stew? Let me know in the comments below.